Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the 27th annual Babe Ruth Birthday Bash. This tradition started back in 1995 when the Babe Ruth Museum kicked off a year-long celebration of Babe Ruth's 100th birthday on the actual day he was born, February 6th, with the first ever bash over at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, just a long fly ball from the Babe Ruth Birthplace Museum.
The bash has been going strong ever since, but as we know, this year is a little different. I'm Katie Dick with Mike Gibbons, and tonight we kick off 3 evenings of virtual birthday bash programming. Panel discussions about the current Orioles under manager Brandon Hyde, the 1970 Birds and their World Series triumph over the Cincinnati Reds, a show about the impact of Babe Ruth's sale to the Yankees for the 1920 season, and a program on the University of Maryland athletics, specifically football and women's and men's basketball programs, the impact of COVID-19, and more.
As part of this year's birthday bash, we are also offering an online silent auction that benefits the museum. These 3 nights of programming are free to our fans courtesy of the generous title support of an anonymous donor. To sign up for our live Q&A sessions, head to our event site at the link below.
But now, without further ado, let's get on with our first of 2 programs this evening. Maston's Roch Kubatko and manager of the Baltimore Orioles, Brandon Hyde.
Welcome to Brandon Hyde, and is this welcome from sunny Sarasota?
Sarasota. Yep, in my office here at Smith Stadium.
I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah.
How is it down there?
It's about 77. No clouds in the sky today. It was beautiful. I know that where I'm from, Chicago and other places, they're having some tough weather, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that I've been in flip-flops and shorts. Yeah.
How have you been spending your off season?
Well, you get away a little bit. You try to unwind. You start back up pretty soon. Try to communicate with players. Have a lot of staff meetings. Talk to staff individually. We hired a couple coaches this off season. That took some time early in October, November. But yeah, I communicate with our front office almost daily, and we have a lot of check-ins. So not only player check-ins, but front office check-ins, and a lot of discussions. So besides the role at home changing a little bit, you try to pick up the pieces at home as much as you can, because you miss it for about 6 months and you need to participate in that way. Try to take the kids to school and see all their activities in the evenings after school, but then on the phone quite a bit during the day.
Would you say you're cautiously optimistic that this 2021 season is going to be back to whatever we consider normal now, as opposed to what you went through in 2020?
I hope so. I don't think any of us know. I think that's the big question right now is, I think we're just assuming that we're starting on time. We're preparing to start on time. But I think the virus and local government and is going to decide a lot on how we play and what precautions that we're going to take, whether it be like last year or less. We're hoping there's going to be fans in the stands, but I think the virus will tell us a lot here going into the summer.
I mean, I know it's kind of hard to sum it up, but what was it like for you, especially second-year manager in the majors, to go through a pandemic? I mean, something that's unprecedented.
Well, I don't think it mattered. It wouldn't have mattered how many years you have managing. I think that we were all doing this for the first time, and so we were relying on each other. There's a lot of conversations going on with our, my friends that are in other teams, managers on other teams, as well as just navigating through with our front office and our medical team. The leadership with the Orioles is, they did a really nice job of making all of us feel safe during that time. were great leaders through that process. And then our medical team was second to none. Ryan Ebel and all the guys and what they did. So just really leaning on them to help. And we're all in this together, and we were trying to finish the season. And I was really proud of how our league handled it.
I assume there was a sense of pride when you look back now and say, wow, we got through this, and really you guys seem to do as well or better than pretty much any team.
Well, I think that comes from, I thought our players really bought in. I thought our players saw that when we got to spring training 2.0, that our club was very serious about following the protocols, that our club was trying to keep everybody as safe as possible, and we were going to adhere to anything we could possibly do to keep everybody healthy on a day-to-day basis. And our players did a great job. They bought in. They stayed in. They didn't go out. We got tested a lot, and they kept their social distance in the clubhouse. Tried to in the dugout as much as possible. But we really did. We stayed in our rooms and we tried to get through the 60-game season.
Right, we're going to back up a little bit for people that really want to get to know more about you. I know you played ball at Montgomery High School in Santa Barbara. You were a catcher, first baseman. What major league team were you a fan of as a kid?
Santa Barbara, no, Santa Rosa. Santa Barbara's pretty nice too, though.
Sorry, Santa Rosa.
Yeah, Santa Barbara's beautiful. But Santa Rosa, yeah, it's in the wine country up in Northern California, right next to Sonoma and Napa. I was a big Bay Area fan, so big Giants fan, big Niners, big Warriors still. Love the Warriors and Niners. I wasn't a Raider guy, but I was definitely I had Joe Montana posters all over my wall. The Warriors days, I loved the Run TMC. I was a big Chris Mullin fan, even though I was right-handed. I was trying to do the crossover like Tim Hardaway, and I love basketball. I still love basketball. So, I just followed the Bay Area sports, and that was on TV every night in the house. My dad's a huge sports fan, and there was always a game on every single night.
I'm going to blame the notes I was given for that typo, by the way. I'm not taking any responsibility for that. Obviously, you were on Joe Madden's staff with the Cubs, and I know you guys are close. What makes him so special as a manager, and what would you say that you learned from him?
Well, it's not just one thing. I think that he's had so many years of experience. He was with the Angels before he went to Tampa for 25, 30 years in various roles. Experienced a lot of different things, from minor league manager to field coordinator to major league staff member. Then he got the opportunity in Tampa and then Chicago, and now back to Anaheim. I just think he's got a ton of experience, and I really rely on his experience dealing with players, dealing with people. He is an incredible people person. He's very honest. He treats people, just really treats people well. And that's what I really took from him was consistency in how you took every day. Like it's not too high, not too low, but just always in a good place. And he's always in a good place mentally. That's really very hard to do as a coach because you have so many ups and downs throughout a season. So to see him, we were good those years. So we didn't have too many low points, but when we did have low points, you never knew from Joe. And that's really what I wanted to take was that consistency of day to day. He didn't ride the wave of an emotional season, but was super consistent.
Now, I was at the winter meetings, of course, when the news broke, maybe a little prematurely that you had been hired as manager. What's going through your mind? Is this being finalized? You're the guy. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement. It's a dream come true, but it's also, hey, I'm the guy leading a complete rebuild. So I assume maybe a little bit of nerves as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It was, first person I called was Joe to see his opinion and I wanted to hear his thoughts on everything. But yeah, I think that you go through that interview process. I spent almost that month interviewing. So there was quite a few jobs open that year. I interviewed for a lot of them, and had a great experience. That was my first time interviewing for a major league manager's job, and enjoyed that experience as grinding as it was, flying all over the country and going back to numerous places, and learning how different organizations work. So I've really only been in two up until this point, with the Marlins and the Cubs. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I think when you take on, a new role, a new job, a dream job, something that you always wanted to do, you have there's a lot of nervousness, and there's anxiety a little bit with how am I going to do and what's this going to be like. But I do have confidence in myself. I've done a bunch of different roles and been thrown into roles that I sometimes wasn't prepared for. I went in the front office one year, never been in the front office. I was a bench coach, named a bench coach, and during the middle of a season, and I was a roving minor league infield rover at the time. So all of a sudden I'm on a major league staff the next day. So there's a lot of things that you just kind of figure out. You ask questions and rely on people you trust, and do the best you can.
Obviously, there are no quick fixes in a rebuild, and Michael Elias has reminded us of that. There's no set timetable. It's going to be X number of years. You just can't rush this process. Through 2 years of it, entering a third year, are you encouraged with what's been accomplished so far, the big picture, and where this organization is trending right now?
I was encouraged, yeah, absolutely, and I was encouraged last year. I thought we played pretty well, especially the first 2/3 of the year. Of the first 40 of the 60 games, I thought we played pretty good baseball. We were competing with the toughest schedule in the game, playing the American League East, the National League East, really good playoff type clubs every single night. And I thought our guys did a great job of hanging in there and really playing tough. Played a lot of close games, won a lot of close games. I thought our young players got better, and that's in a situation like ours where you're building toward the future. You want your young players to perform. You want to see a light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. And so to see Santander do what he did for the second year in a row, you see Ryan Mountcastle come and swing the bat really well the last 30 plus games, and two young starters at the end, Kramer and Aiken, pitch really well against American League East playoff clubs. Our bullpen guys take a huge step forward from the year before with Tanner Scott, Dylan Tate, Paul Fry, etc. We lost a few guys in their bullpen last year and didn't lose much when we lost those three veteran guys. We lost Blyer, Castro, and Givens when we were still in it, and our guys did a nice job of picking up for a lack of. I was using those three guys really in especially Givens and Castro. They're late. I was using them in high leverage situations, so we had to give the ball to somebody else, and they did a pretty good job. So we just need to continue to build on that, continue to get guys to the big leagues, continue to get experience, and have our young players continue to improve.
I know the team worked really hard to compensate for the loss of a minor league season. Obviously, the summer training camp and those fall instructional league later. But how much does it hurt? Maybe this organization, as much as any other, because of where you are right now in this rebuild, to not have those minor league games. Was that a setback?
It was a setback industry wide. I think that there's, when you lose at bats and innings on the mound for your prospects, guys that really matter to us, that hurts. I think that with that being said, I thought we did a really good job of supplementing what they lost in that secondary camp. These guys got a lot of at bats. They still had through a lot of innings. We had instructional league in the fall where they continued. So with the restrictions that we had last year and the lack of the season, I didn't feel like it was a development season lost for our higher end prospects or for the older guys. I thought it wasn't ideal, but I thought we did it right in doing anything we could to continue to keep these guys building toward being a big league player.
The time that we're talking here, Major League Baseball, as far as I know, hasn't even let clubs yet know roster sizes and things like that. Obviously, Mike's still got work to do to fill out that roster. For you, what are the challenges? I'm sure you sit in the office here thinking, okay, you're trying to craft in your mind a pitching staff, a lineup potentially, a bench. And yet at this date, I mean, how difficult is that? What are the challenges when you still don't know how many players and who might be showing up, who might be leaving?
Yeah, that is challenging, but we're not the only one going through it. I think there's 29 other teams that have the same questions right now of start date, roster size, rules. If we're going to follow the same protocols as we did in the summer, I think there's a lot of questions still to be answered that everybody's waiting for, and that just creates a little bit of nervousness of how to prepare for spring training, because we're going to prepare like it's a normal spring training and then have to adjust from there. I just don't want to be unprepared going into camp. I think that's kind of keeps that feeling right there is what keeps me up at night a little bit of I like to make sure that I'm over prepared in everything I do, and to have question marks this close to spring training, that will kind of ruin your routine a little bit on a daily basis. But yeah, I mean, we're all going through it, and we're going to do everything we can like we did last year to hopefully have a normal season.
No matter how it shakes out, are you fairly confident you're going to have at least 2 rookies in your starting rotation?
Well, I think that those guys definitely earned an opportunity to win a job in spring training. I wouldn't just hand them any job. I don't think that's. I like to keep guys competitive, and I want them to feel like they need to earn it. But they definitely, their debuts last year, their last 4 or 5 starts, they proved that they could pitch in the big leagues, and I'm just looking forward to them getting better.
The roster obviously has undergone some major changes in the offseason with Jose Iglesias, Renato Nunez, Hanser Alberto. There's some trade interest, as we know about, on Anthony Santander, Trey Mancini. Those 2 guys, though, do you proceed as if you're expecting to see them in camp and they're going to be part of the roster? They're going to be probably in the middle of the lineup and be everyday players for you. Is that how you have to approach this?
Yeah, that's how I'm approaching it. Until I hear differently, that's how I approach it. Yeah, there's going to be traded interest in good players. Those guys are really good players, and if another team, if anybody can try to acquire a really good player, then I'm sure there's phone calls that be made. But that's not my department, honestly. I just try to do the best with the guys that we have. I mean, I love both those guys to death. I think that they're players you can build around and have, especially Santander with the age, and then Mancini coming off what he did. I think that they're ready to really take off as major league players. So I'm assuming that they're going to be hitting the Miller order.
What do you think the emotions are going to be like for you that first day you're in camp and you see Mancini walk through those doors after what happened last spring and everything he went through and the fear that we all felt for him?
Yeah, I've actually thought about it quite a bit about the spring training with him, and that was one of the toughest days I've had if not the toughest, from a professional work environment standpoint of somebody hearing the news that day, in March, and he handled it way better than I could possibly imagine. He's just so tough, and mentally tough, physically tough. He's got great parents, and he's just such a strong-willed guy. And I was getting really emotional and losing it a little bit hearing the news. And this guy, he was just a rock. And keeping in contact with him throughout the summer, and he's such a class dudes. You pull for him so much. So I can't wait for him to be here this spring.
In the day he underwent that surgery, March 12th, is the day the sport effectively shut down because of COVID. You must sit at home sometimes in a quiet moment and think, I can't believe everything. I mean, you could write a book just on what happened that season.
We dealt with a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so proud of our players, Roch, honestly. Our team dealt with a ton of adversity last year. Not just the pandemic, trade, that was a huge thing for our team. But there was a lot of things happening in our country during the pandemic time also, that we would get together as a group, as a club, as young men, and talk about what's going on with guys from all different parts of the world, with different experiences. I think it was just a great learning lesson and a great way. We really got to know our teammates really well and carried that over into spring training 2.0 and into the season. But yeah, for leading all those discussions and hearing our players talk, that was something that I honestly had not been a part of. And I was proud of how our team handled the entire, tough 2021 year.
Back to the roster, pretty good chance that you're going to have a double play combination, a new one of Freddie Galvis, potentially Yomir Sanchez at second base. What do you like about those guys?
Well, I think that both are defenders first. And Yomir, I saw play in Chicago a lot when he was with the White Sox. This guy's been a Gold Glove winner. He's just very, very solid defensively, plays with great energy. The White Sox coaches, they rave about kind of person he is and what he brings to the team. And, he's just going to be super solid defensively. And what we want is we want solid up the middle. That's the old adage of being strong up the middle. It holds true to today of being able to catch the ball up the middle. And with Yomir there, now Freddie, I've seen Freddie play. He was with the Phillies when I was with the Marlins probably 10 years ago or so. And Freddie's just always been a really athletic, solid shortstop. We saw him at Toronto 2 years ago. He hurt us with a couple homers. Any ball we hit to him, we were out. Just very, very consistent. And talking with the people that have had him also, Cincinnati people and people, coaches that he's had in the past, they love the kid. And then my brief phone call with him, he's very excited to be here. So I'm really excited to have both those guys in the middle of the field, and it's going to be a strength of ours being with defense up the middle.
Seems like another strength could be the outfield. It just looks like there's a lot of depth now. Not necessarily a lot of guys who have proven themselves over a full season, but a lot of talent, a lot of options for you. Is that something you've also kind of been working through your mind of how to make that work, all those pieces? I know the designated hitter spot has opened up as well.
Yeah, I think it's easy to rotate in the big leagues. I think it's easy to find playing time for guys. There's always things happen throughout a 6-month season where there's bruises and nicks and day games after night games and all sorts of ways to keep everybody fresh. I think that's actually a pretty easy thing to do. But yeah, I think that we have a lot of athleticism in our outfield, and that's a lot of youth, a lot of energy, guys that are hungry, and I'm excited about what Mullins did last year. I think Austin Hayes is ready to show everybody what kind of player he can be. He's shown flashes, and now I think he's ready to take that next step and really solidify an offensive force with a guy that can go get the baseball in the outfield and throw as well as anybody. Ryan Mountcastle did a nice job in left field. We put him out there last year. Kind of surprised everybody a little bit with how he got down the line offensively, how athletic he was in left. You saw DJ Stewart improve defensively, but also have a hot streak there to showing what he can do. And when we have a couple young guys coming too that I'm excited about that are young and athletic, that are very, very toolsy. So to have the athleticism that we do, not to mention Santander, with guys that are strong and can run, I think that we're in good shape in our outfield.
I think there were at least 2 instances where Mountcastle hit a ground ball to the left side. I looked down to mark 5-3, looked up, and he was safe. Yep. Was that speed a little bit of a surprise to you? I know you saw him in camp, but I don't think he came as advertised as a guy who was like a plus runner.
It was a surprise to me too. I'll be honest with you. I did not see him get down the line like that in spring training, the previous spring trainings. Yeah, there were a few jailbreak rollovers to the left side where he was either safe or was bang bang. And for a guy that's 6'4", and with the size that he has to move like that, you don't see that very often. I saw Bryant, when KB came up 2015, 16, he runs like that also. But that's very, very rare. Surprise the infielders, and he's gonna create some bobbles, and he's gonna create some rush throws just because of he strides down the line and gets down and is fast. So that's another weapon that I didn't even know he had.
We've gone this long without me bringing up Adley Rutschman, so I guess I may as well do that now. I don't know what the over-under is of how many times you're going to be asked about him. But is there, first of all, just what impression has he made early on with you? And is there a possibility at all that you think he could make his debut in 2021, or is that to be determined, or is it too soon?
I think it's too soon, and that would be honestly a question that I would forward to the front office. I want to take care of the guys.
They rejected it. They said it. They kicked it back to you.
Well, I got my tennis racket, and I just volleyed it right back over the net.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's a organization decision. That's an office decision. I obviously, there's nothing to not like about the guy. We've had one spring training, and then last year with the spring training 2.0 also, we got to be around him a little bit. I'm looking forward to when the time comes and he gets in the big leagues to watch this kid play. I like the mental makeup. He's obviously got huge physical tools. I think he's going to be a quarterback, a leader on the field. I think it's everything as advertised. I just want to go play and relax and not worry about the fanfare and everything that comes along with being a real top prospect. And it just adds more stress, and it's it's tough. It's tough on those guys. There's so many expectations. I just want him to kind of fit in and let his ability take over. And I'm sure that will be, in the next couple of years at some point.
Is the makeup as important as anything else, of any tool that he has? Because it looks like he's a mature kid who handles all this attention. I've had people ask me, how do you think he's going to deal with that? And I'm like, he's probably been interviewed every day since high school. I mean, I think he's used to the attention.
Yeah, he's prepared for that, for sure. But it's still not the big leagues, and that's different. And everybody handles it a little bit differently. But yeah, I think he is as well equipped as anybody to handle it, because he is just really, really mature, got a ton of confidence, and I think he thinks he belongs. And he's always had success, and he brings a lot. He's a team guy first too. That's what I love about him. Also, he's behind the plate. He's got pitchers already love throwing to him. He's a great communicator. There's a lot of things that young players don't do, especially behind the plate, and that's just a lot of USA experience. And this guy was raised really well, obviously.
It's probably a good sign too that we noticed the veterans all seem to like the kid. You can tell sometimes when somebody they think maybe needs to be taken down a few pegs, or rub some guys the wrong way, and yet it looked like everybody was accepting of him, wanted to help him, and just liked him.
Yeah, he's very likable. Got a great personality. I think that he did a really good job of just trying to fit in, of soaking in the experience. Not being overly quiet, but also just trying to ask questions and figure some things out. And I think he did a really nice job. That earned a lot of veteran respect of a guy with number one pick overall that wasn't full of himself but wanted to learn. I think that was huge, and he really approached spring training with the right mindset, and I think guys really like him for that.
We've gone this long without talking about Chris Davis, so of course there's also going to be an over/under on that name.
Which one more?
Might be a draw. Do you basically just handle him as you have been doing at this point, where he's going to get lots of at-bats in the spring? If he's playing well, there's more playing time for him there, and if he's not, then some other guys get that opportunity. Nothing's promised. Yeah,
I think you said it. Yeah, I think that we're going to go with he's on the club. We're going to give him opportunity in spring training to come in here and do some damage offensively and hit. And if that carries into the season, then love to have him in the lineup, and I'd love to have him contribute. But I think that we got other guys also that we want to see play, and I think it's fair just to play the team I think is going to have the best chance to win that night, and CD swings the bat, we'll be in there.
And you just work to make sure that doesn't become a distraction at all, which it didn't seem to be too much last year.
I think we've handled it pretty well the last couple of years. I think that CD's not easy for him too. Listen, he's a great, I love the guy. He's a great guy. We have a great relationship. I think we're extremely honest with each other. He knows where I stand with things. That he's in my office more than anybody else. And whether we're talking about baseball or fantasy football, we have a good rapport. So I'm like I always do with him. I'm just going to be up front, and I have been, and hopefully he comes in here and swings the bat well.
You brought up the coaching staff earlier. Tony Mansolino, now your third base coach, as well as your infield instructor. What should we know about him? What does he bring to the table here?
Well, I'm excited about Tony. I think he's got young coach, got great energy, got a nice background where played at Vanderbilt, played some professional baseball, worked his way up as a coach, all the way up to AAA manager, to infield rover last year. I talked with a lot of the Cleveland people. Unfortunately, when Tito got sick last year, Tony did get an opportunity to go to the big leagues and coach third, and was really impressive. The infielders really liked him. Did a really nice job at third base, coached third base in the postseason for them, and handled it very, very well. So he's he's impressive. He's impressive. Got passion about teaching, passion about figuring it out with players. He's already started relationship building with some of our infielders. That's gone very, very well. So he's going to fit in well with our coaching staff. Holty is somebody that we know already, and somebody that has been around us a lot the last couple of years, and has done a really a nice job with our farm system and our minor league pitchers, and making it's been well documented about how much improvement has happened in our minor league system on the mound, and Holty's a big part of that. So to have him in the big leagues, to continue to work with the pitchers that we have, he's very familiar with a lot of these guys that we're going to be bringing up. Also, that's going to be a huge help. But I'm looking forward to working next to him. And
Anthony Sanders, he basically, I guess, ran the mini camp. We had 5 outfielders there in Sarasota, including Stevie Wilkerson. We'll call him an outfielder. How important is Sanders' role and how important was that mini camp to get some extra work with those guys?
Well, really well. I got to see a couple of the days here. Really impressed with one, the shape these guys came in. These guys are ready to go, and now that pumped me up. I think that Anthony's he's a really good teacher, and he has got a great way about him. He's very, very level-headed. The outfielders really like him. He's one of those coaches where you want to go out there with the coach to go do extra work with. And so when we brought this up with our players and Anthony, everybody was all in, because Anthony's got a great personality, and he's got so much knowledge from an outfield standpoint. I just thought it was important for these guys to hopefully soak in a little bit more and get a little extra work in before spring training. So I was very, very impressed with the work that was put in down here. I know Anthony was excited, and it was a great, the players I think got better.
DJ Stewart was there. Is it safe to say this is a big year for him? Former first-round pick. Doesn't really have anything else to prove in the minors. He's had some opportunities he hasn't fully taken advantage of, but obviously we saw some glimpses, like with the 7 home runs in September.
Yeah, DJ's had some physical hiccups, that have not really allowed him to get the everyday at bats in the big leagues. He had that really nice stretch there in September when he showed everybody what he can do. He can really drive the baseball. Big, strong guy. It's a line drive swing, but he's got huge raw power. And I like the way he uses the whole field too. I think that that's got to come into his game a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's a big year for DJ, and that it's time to put his stamp on being a major league everyday player and solidify himself and be a big contributor for us offensively.
Brandon, thank you very much. And I'm still waiting to find out what the media is going to be allowed to do this year, but hopefully I'll get a chance to see you beyond the Zooms. But it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think we're getting used to it now, but I think we'd all much rather have it the other way.
I don't have a lot of laundry every week. I've had people, my fiance says, it's just like some socks and underwear. Are you wearing the same clothes every day? I'm like, I'm in Zooms or I'm just home all day. So eventually I'll break out a better wardrobe.
Like being a newscaster.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Brandon. I'm going to turn it back over to Mike.
That interview was recorded several days ago, and with the Orioles remaining a work in progress, we know that changes have occurred since then.
And will continue as the rebuild moves forward. Many thanks to Brandon Hyde and Massen's Kubatko for their terrific presentation.
Now, before moving along, enjoy this 1-minute clip from inside the Babe Ruth Museum archives.
The Johns Hopkins lacrosse team has captured 44 national championships since the program's inception in 1883. Coach of the Blue Jays from 1926 to 1934 was Ray Van Orman. A football coach and athletic director, Orman had never seen a game of lacrosse before he became head coach in 1926. But Orman coached the Blue Jays to tournament wins that led to the team representing the United States in the 1928 and 1932 Olympics, where lacrosse was played as a demonstration sport. This lacrosse jersey was worn in 1932, the 10th installment of the Olympic Games held in Los Angeles, where the U.S. beat Canada 2-1.
Well, that's just more evidence of Maryland's great sporting tradition.
That's right, Mike. Now let's turn our attention to our second program of the night, as the voice of the University of Maryland, Johnny Holliday, interviews Maryland women's basketball head coach Brenda Frese, head football coach Mike Locksley, and the men's basketball head coach Mark Turgeon.
Hey, thank you very, very much. It is my pleasure to actually see in person, well, not in person, but on Zoom, Maryland's head basketball coach, Brenda Frese. And Coach, I know how happy you are to be proud of this Babe Ruth birthday bash, as I am. And we can talk a little bit about your team and about what you've done, what you're going to do, and how difficult a season this has been for you and for everybody in the country. Great to see you again.
Yeah, no question. I mean, Johnny, this is our new reality, right? Is seeing each other not in person, but over Zoom. And I think everybody, obviously is managing to the best of our abilities. I was laughing with my staff today as we went through about 6 different schedule changes of what lies ahead for us. And I said, man, when we get back to what we know is like our normal, we are going to be so grateful for a schedule and a routine. But, just proud of how everybody's been able to handle it through something no one's ever had to go through before.
We're going to talk about that as we continue our little visit with Coach Frese in just a couple of minutes. But last night, You had a marvelous win over Michigan State, 92-52. A nice bounce back from a very tough loss on the road at Ohio State. Number 7 team in the country, Coach. I could spend 4 hours talking to you about what you have done at the University of Maryland in all your years. 12-2 this year in the conference. You're 8-1. Haven't lost a game at home. What has made this year team much different than others that you've had, outside of the fact it is a young team and it's not a very deep team either?
It is. I'm having a lot of fun coaching this team, during a pandemic. But I think what truly makes this team so special is, we had lost so much last year. We graduated all 5 starters. We had some players that transferred out, and then you get into this season, and we've been dealt with the injury bug. Number 2 player in the country, Angel Reese, goes out with a Jones fracture. Then we lose our senior backup point guard, Shanice Lewis, to an ACL injury. And all this team continues to do is continue to keep fighting and be the, top 10 team in the country. And so I think that, to me, is what really has separated this team from probably all the greats that have been here, is just their resiliency and to be doing it, throughout a pandemic.
Did you have any idea when the season began the team you have now would lead the country in scoring at 92 points a game?
I mean, no, I didn't know what kind of team we were going to have. Let's, we knew pieces, and obviously our returners, we knew the talent that we had in the sophomore class, and what was coming in, with Angel Reese. But to put it together that quickly, and with our grad transfers, and transfers that have come in, have been so valuable to us, and to see them mesh without a summer. They all got here in August. I mean, we had a couple weeks of strength and conditioning, and so it is pretty remarkable to see just how quickly they've been able to form and really put it all together through their chemistry and their talents.
Well, the one thing that's helped it a lot, you got some girls that are over 6 feet in this basketball team. That certainly helps. More than one girl.
Oh, no question. I mean, our size, is critical. And like you said, we can shoot the basketball. I mean, when you have Katie Benson, who is averaging 52% from the 3-point line, as a team, we're almost close to 80% from the free throw line. This team is really talented offensively.
When you look at what you've done, Coach, at the University of Maryland, 19th year, it seems like yesterday you and I were sitting in a small little office at Cole Fieldhouse talking about you coming to Maryland, what your vision was. Did you ever in your wildest dreams say, I may be leaving here whenever I choose to leave here as Maryland's all-time winningest coach? You got 498 wins, one shy away from tying Chris Weller's record. What a marvelous, marvelous streak.
Oh, well, thank you, Johnny. I mean, are you kidding me? When I first got here to Maryland, I was just trying to make sure I could get a contract extension out of that, so they wouldn't fire me.
Right.
That I was going to be good enough. I mean, I was it was my, 4th year in coaching, and I wanted to make sure I could prove myself that I belonged, at a BCS level school, as well guarded as Maryland. So it blows my mind sometimes when you reflect back, and I guess when I get to retire, to just know that consistency factor, I think, is probably the thing I'm most proud of.
You ever sit back and say, here's something that I still want to reach? Here's a goal that I've yet to achieve. You've won a national championship. You've won Coach of the Year. You've won National Coach of the Year. What is left? I would think maybe to just keep on winning and win another national championship and see the kind of women you produce that have played for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, after when you're unproven, you're trying to prove yourself, right? I think that's natural when you take over a program in coaching, and you want to show you belong. But I think, for me, it's changed. I've had so many different things that have impacted my life, and obviously with that experience comes some wisdom, you hope. But it now is for everyone else. I mean, now it's, I want every player to be able to experience a Final Four, or to cut down a Big Ten title net. I think there's so many more goals for your players, as well as your staff and your support staff, that come through in their cycle as you're mentoring them. It's just a bigger picture now of, watching others' success and knowing that you helped guide them in that direction.
And when you speak about success, think of all the women that have gone on to play in the WNBA that you have coached. I think 8 or 9 or 10 have been top 10 selections. Did any of those that went on to play at the next level surprise you when they first came to Maryland? And when they left, you said, hey, I've done a pretty good job with this lady.
I would say for sure. Tiana Hawkins is the first one that probably comes to mind because, her story is a great story. I mean, she was local and ranked 125th in the country when we recruited her out of high school. I've never believed in rankings. I just saw that Tiana could score the basketball and rebound. And just to watch, her evolution as a player from her freshman year, crying at least once a week in practice to her senior year being top 10 in the draft going into the WNBA. And no question, I mean, her evolution was probably the neatest one to be able to see.
How much have you changed your coaching philosophy? Because the players have changed over the years. The student athletes have gotten, more, they're just a lot different than they were when you first started coaching. Have you changed, because you've managed to adjust quite nicely?
Yeah, I think you have to, obviously. I mean, you have to be ahead of it or you're going to be passed by. And I mean, you could see that just now, even with technology, how much has changed. So, I think just even more so, I mean, I've always been relational, but even more so trying to be more hands-on with your players parents, those dynamics that you're constantly juggling. That I think have been a really important piece to our program.
People ask me, what has made Coach Frese so successful in Maryland? I say connecting with her team, recruiting good student athletes, understanding the challenges they have today, like no other year you've ever coached what you're going through right now, and being able to blend the right amount of players into a team that works as a team and has that we're not going to be beaten attitude. Am I close to is that a good description of you?
You're telling all my secrets. Yeah, no question. I mean, I am a big believer, that it starts at the top. And I think when you talk about leadership and between myself and our staff and the mentoring that we get to be able to provide, it's consistency, right? And it's how you handle every single day. And whether that be with recruiting, we know our philosophy and we know, the kind of players we want to recruit to Maryland that are able to be really successful here. And then once you get here, there's also, I think, within that time that we've been able to build here a philosophy. And obviously, family's always been important to me. It's how I was raised with my 5 other siblings and my parents. And, that's an extension to who our family is and how we live every single day in our program.
How was your dad? Because your dad had a birthday recently.
My dad just turned 89 and, he has advanced prostate cancer. So he's been fighting every single day, chemo, radiation. He's gone through it all. We wanted to do a big birthday, card sending party since you can't be there in person. So last count was over 300, gearing towards 400 cards of people that have sent through. So it's been incredible to see just the human spirit, how they've lifted my dad's spirit in this time, celebrating this month and him. And, it's really been an extension as he's had his 6 children, the amount of cards that have gone out for him to see kind of the impact he's had through his kids and in a community. So it's been pretty surreal to be able to watch.
And then you went through the same thing with your son and had
Yeah.
to balance the home life, the visits to the hospitals, the treatments, and the coaching. How you did that is people can not imagine how you got through that.
Yeah, well, I think it puts your priorities in order. It's like I
Sure.
spoke of earlier when you have a son. When Tyler was diagnosed with cancer at age 2.5, and go through that as a family, and then now recently with my dad and our family again, having to go through it, it just really puts everything in place. I mean, I love the game. I'm the most, I'm as competitive as they come. I love to win. But when we lose it to Ohio State, 14th in the country by 2 points on the road, I'm going to watch film and we're going to get better from it, but it's not going to consume where it's going to impact me when I come home and see my family or change, the day to day that I get with my players.
And your twins, Tyler and Marcus, will be 13 on February the 17th. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I mean, I'm going to have two teenagers, they already barely want anything to do with me anymore. But no, it's, I've really enjoyed the journey. I mean, it's just like coaching, parenting, what they teach you and, they make me a better mom. They make me a better coach every single day.
Coach, usually coaches and players can kind of control their own destiny. They have their own program, their own way of doing things. This year has been completely different, going back to last March when the pandemic hit. How have you been able to handle that with your family and also with your basketball team?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure my boys are complaining too much. Maybe my husband, because I've been home a lot more than I ever have. So, in some regards that, we've taken that as they're becoming teenagers, that quality time in a strange way has been really nice. But, in our program, we, again, I think it goes back to a consistency factor, even though you don't have consistency.
Yeah, right.
We talk about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I mean, one of our phrases is, we had to check in and make sure they knew what Gumby was to be flexible this year. And so we constantly, when a schedule changes, we roll with it. We don't get too high, too low through all the changes because there's been so many. And I think our players have just done, our group has done just a remarkable job of being resilient through all of it.
And the thing I admire about every single player in your team is they don't have any outside activities anymore. It's just the family of basketball, and that's basically it.
It really is. I mean, it's become their bubble, since the moment they stepped on campus back in August. And I can't say enough. I am truly amazed for, young college students between the ages of 18 to 23 to be so committed to the game that they love, that they want to play. And, our group is, they're in it. And I think you see why when they get to the court, their chemistry is so good. They know how to communicate with each other because they're spending so much time together that they truly know every single member of this team with the amount of time that they've spent together.
And when you have a chance to watch a Maryland basketball game, a women's basketball game, you can't go in person. Nobody can go to these games in person. You see the amount of fun that they have, the enjoyment they have of being on that floor. And that's their time together.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I say even, my own family can't even come into Xfinity to watch a game. So it's so different, when you talk about, one, I'll say, the fans and how much we miss them and, can't wait for hopefully next season to have them back. But I hope that, when you watch our team, I mean, that's been a big thing for us is energy and enthusiasm and that it, you can see it through your computer or your television set, just how genuine and how real it is. I mean, you can't fake that. You can't make that up. And I think it truly shows when they play just the passion and the fun they have for it.
Coach, it has been great catching up with you. The thing I miss the most is having a chance to see you in person, shake your hand after a win, cheer your girls on to a victory every single night they're on that basketball floor. And you're going to set a record here, and we can't wait for it to be broken.
Yeah, well, the feeling's mutual, Johnny. I can't wait to give you a big hug when I see you. And, when we get to go back to normal times, I'm going to cherish it.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for your time. Very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Maryland's head women's coach, Brenda Frese. Back to you, Mike. As we continue the Babe Ruth birthday bash, we're going to talk to Maryland's head football coach, Mike Locksley, who I have not seen in person now in over a year. And that maybe is good for you, Coach. It's unfortunate for me, but you haven't seen anybody except your football team over the past year.
Yeah, it's been an interesting, at least 2020 was really interesting for us. And taught us a new way of living and really isolated you and isolated us. And really excited and hope that, as we continue to move forward into 21, that I get a chance to see you in person and spend time with our Babe Ruth fans, our Terp fans, and get back to some normalcy.
You graduated from Towson at that time, Towson State, of course, played on the football team up there at Towson, and then you got your coaching circles many, many years ago. You've gone to Alabama, you're all over but you've got your home now at the University of Maryland. Did you ever in your wildest dreams even imagine having to go through what you went through this year, playing only 5 games, winning those 2, having more games, 2 times against Michigan State, having both those games wiped out, and just a very tough year for everybody?
Yeah, you know what, though? It was a microcosm of what we all went through, the unknown. Yeah. And, being able to get 5 games in, as you know about me, I am a cup half full guy. It was 5 more than we expected because at one point there was going to be no season. Would I've loved to have been able to get the full 8, go to a bowl game, no doubt about it. But this team, being a young team, we needed those extra games. We needed those extra practice reps. But we clearly were able to show that we've taken the next step. Now, nowhere close to where we need to be when it comes to us building this program into a championship level program. But I'm really encouraged with the way we've been able to recruit, the way these players have really bought in to the standards, to the cultures, to the principles and values that we've set for the program, and feel like we've really steadied the ship. And now, after the end of the season, I meet with every player on our team, and I can tell you the energy level down in the locker room is that the trajectory of the Maryland football program is heading in the right direction, and the players are excited about 21.
In the early signing period, you had 21 guys signed to come to Maryland, the 18th best class in the country. And there's a lot of outstanding schools that you beat out in the recruiting process. What is the secret to getting guys to commit to Maryland? And I look at a guy like Lewis, the kid coming from down in Miami, Florida, Central High School and Northwestern High School, one of the top linebackers in the country. Miami wanted him, Florida wanted him, Florida State wanted him. No, he's going to come play for Mike Locksley at Maryland.
Yeah, as I've told you many times, Johnny, we have such an awesome product to sell here. Our location being so close to Baltimore and DC, right in the middle of the 2 top cities in the country, if not the world. Great academics that we have here on campus, really strong in not just certain areas, but a lot of different areas. And then I think the new facilities and the things that we're doing, kids nowadays want to be a part of building something. And we've been able to really sell a clear, concise picture as to where we want this program to be. And the goal is to develop into a championship level football program. And these kids see the vision, they see the resources that have been put into the football program. And now it's just about growing it the right way, continuing to set our feet into the culture of the winning culture that we need to create. And these kids have really believed, and we've got great coaches that have done a great job of selling this part of it. And it's been good for us to be able to sell this Maryland brand, not just, and we start right here in our own backyard, the DMV, but I can tell you the brand is a national brand, and people have kind of taken notice of what a great area of the country to go to school, play big time football, and develop yourselves into a better version of yourself while earning a great degree from a great university.
And if you ask any high school coach in this area, the one thing about Mike Locksley is that the kids believe in you. You take each kid as if they were one of your sons, right, and take care of them, watch after them. When you get the guys from the local schools to commit to come to Maryland, other guys who are in high school look at these guys and say, hey, look, he's playing. His family and friends are coming to see him play. I want to go there and play for Coach Locksley, be the same as this guy is.
Yeah, I think 2 of the big things, and you just hit on it, is that peer pressure still rules recruiting. And when, it rules most of society, kids will do what their peers think is cool. And so we've had some guys that have made it cool to start to come to Maryland. And we've had a lot of the local guys, starting with Stephon Diggs back in my second stint here. And even before that, with guys like Vernon Davis and Sean Merriman and Lamont Jordan, all these great Terps that have come through this program, they've kind of made it cool again to say, hey, I want to go be a Terp. And then, when you look at once they do come and they have success and they're able to move on to the next level, it validates it. And so I oftentimes talk about that third-party validation where we get those guys to come back to help sell that you can come to Maryland and you won't, finish second for a job because of where you went to school. And we've had back-to-back first-round draft picks 2 out of the last 3 years, and we still have the opportunity to make football and develop you to play at the next level.
How proud were you to watch the championship games in the NFL with Stephon Diggs out there, Quentin Jefferson out there, Darnell Savage out there, 3 guys that you know well and you coached?
Yeah, it was great to see 3 Terps in the next to the last round. Wish we could have got one of the teams into the Super Bowl so we could be represented, but really proud of the type of season that they all had, including Stephon. And, all of our Terp NFL alums, did a great job this season. And you look at, the different guys and the success that they've had. Again, it just goes to show you that you can come to Maryland. We can prepare you for the next level. And guys, once you get there, still have an opportunity to excel, just like some of the other schools that maybe people look at year in and year out that have had great success and wins.
And to be a good football team, to be a successful football team, you got to have a quarterback. The quarterback you had this past year followed you up from Alabama. You know him, you coached him, and what a great addition that was to your football team.
Yeah, anytime you had a quarterback of Talia's ability and, he showed glimpses of what he can be. And again, just realize he's only played 5 games or started 5 games in his career. So that toolbox still isn't quite full of the experiences that he'll gain and need as he continues to mature as a quarterback in our system. And it was great to see some of the glimpses and some of the flashes of just what it can look like on a consistent basis. Once we get back to normalcy and get an opportunity to continue to play more games, which we expect and hope to do in 21, but a talented quarterback, but even a better person and leader. His teammates gravitate toward him. He has that ability to bring people together, and people believe in him as a leader. So, that's what you want from that position. And as I've said before, I don't think we've had a quarterback that has been able to do or show what Talia has shown in a limited amount of time since maybe Scott McBride back in the early 2000s. So again, not to put a lot of pressure on him. I'm excited to see what he looks like as he moves into year 2 as a starter or as a player for us. And he has shown us that he has the ability. We just got to get it out of him consistently.
Every year you always lose key guys. Key guys either move on to the NFL, they leave school early, they want to go to the transfer portal, whatever. But you've got a lot of firepower coming back, especially in the wide receiver department. Dante Dimas coming back, and you got Cross coming back, Brian Cobb's coming back, and the list, you got like 8 or 9 guys that can catch that football.
Yeah, it's one of the more talented rooms in our program, and I thought our offensive line took the biggest step or the most improved of the position groups. And you're right, the advent of the transfer portal and, coaching changes. There's always, it becomes kind of like free agency. And the NCAA put these rules in place to give the student athlete a little more power and control. I'm all for it. We lose guys and we wish them well, whether they graduate or move on to other programs. But, the one good thing is the culture set, the philosophies are in place. And again, we're excited about what 21 looks like for us.
A lot of those times, Coach, I would imagine the guys sit down with you, you have those one-on-one meetings, and you can advise a guy, well, maybe you should go ahead and test the waters, and maybe you'll be better off going somewhere else if that's your desire. But if you want to stay here, it's up to them, really.
Yeah, you know what? As I've said to people, very few times do we want to run or chase guys out of the program. We will advise guys where they are. We meet twice a year. I meet twice a year with the whole team after spring ball and after the season. And we have a sit down one-on-one and we talk about going through their evaluation, where they are with the program, what they need to do to improve. And then we also get feedback from them. And sometimes some guys need fresh starts, and we encourage it. If a guy wants or needs a fresh start, just like coaches, I mean, sometimes change is good because it gives you an opportunity to try to get better or to try to get better. Sure. And, I know the philosophies of who we want to be offensively, defensively, special teams, the type of players we're going to be able to bring in here, as we've shown, we're going to always continue to create a competitive team, competitive position groups to where, competition brings out the best in everyone. And what I found from being part of championship level football at the Division I level, like at Alabama, is that when you have that great competition every single day at practice, it usually brings the best out of your team. And so we're continuing to build that. We're continuing to stockpile really big time players that believe in what we do and want to be a part of helping us win. And we're hoping to see some of the fruits of the heavy lifting that we've done the last couple of years.
One of your quarterbacks is only a freshman, Tarheeb Still. Freshman All-American, I might add. Did he surprise you at all with his play this year?
He didn't. We do a great job of the evaluation process. And if you look at Tarheeb, the only surprise was, selfishly being an offensive guy. He's one of New Jersey's all-time leading receivers, and he's done a lot of great things on the offensive side of the ball. And, he's got great ball skills. He's a great athlete. Not surprising because of the type of athlete he is. And the one good thing was we were able to put him in the best possible position to do the things that he could execute. And one of the things that showed up for us is our ability to play man coverage, which we hadn't done a bunch around here. Tarheeb gets a lot of credit because he played that slot corner position where we put him in the slot to cover the slot receivers. But yeah, guys like Deonte Banks and Kenny Bennett on the other side, as well as Jacorian Bennett, Gator, Levante Gator, all those guys did a great job. And Henry Baker, who's coaching those guys, really developed that young group, and they were really productive for us on the back end of things.
How good to have Henry Baker back, a former Terrapin, to come back to his alma mater, coach with you.
Yeah, it's important, and we're going to continue to try to keep Terps that are in this profession. Those guys want to be here. Those guys like Henry takes so much pride in being a former Terp and wearing the red, black, gold, and white, and representing his alma mater. And there's something about a guy that coaches in your program that understands what it's like to put that uniform on. And so to have Henry back and all the pride that he shows in being a former Terp, it was great because he's been able to share his experiences with our team and sell them on the fact that it's a brotherhood and it's something that you'll cherish for life.
Hopefully this pandemic will end soon. It's been going on for almost a year now.
Way too long.
I would imagine a lot of players come to you. These are young 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old guys who are afraid, scared of what's going on, not knowing what tomorrow brings or next week brings. How have you been able to handle that with them?
Well, we've got a mantra around here where it's maximize it. And basically what that is, and I sell our team on it, the time is the most valuable commodity we have. And it's really important that whatever time we have, we use it wisely. And so for us, it really helped us focus in on the present, because too many times as a player, as a coach, as a program, you always want to plan for the future, or you always sometimes maybe looking backwards at things that didn't go well or did go well. And we've learned to live in the moment. And so when you maximize it, that's all about whatever the day brings or whatever I have scheduled to do today, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability with the right kind of intentions and be really intentional with our habits and behaviors to accomplish that goal. And when I lay my head down at night, I can lay my head down knowing I gave it everything I had, whether it's in the school, on the football field, practice, classroom, as a person, as a brother, as a son. We want them to maximize the day. And so we learned really quickly with the pandemic that let's just live for today and then deal with tomorrow when it gets here, because tomorrow is not a promise to any of us, one, but two, you don't know what tomorrow brings. So let's just deal with it when we get to it and take care of right now. Be where your feet are.
Spring practice is just around the corner. Before you know it, West Virginia game will be here on September the 4th. You got 6 home games this year: West Virginia, Kent State, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State, and Michigan. I know you can't wait to get started.
we're excited about it, but again, we're going to worry about tomorrow, and we're going to try to keep that pandemic mentality going. Obviously it's great to see that we've got a competitive schedule. As always, playing in the Big Ten, we're going to play really good teams. It's great that we got a couple of them here at the Shell. And I can just tell you, we're going to do everything we can to prepare our team starting. We've already started with our off-season program here this past week. Got a lot of work to do, a lot of things to get put in, implemented, corrected, and fixed. But I can tell you that we'll be excited and ready to go September 4th.
Coach, I look forward to seeing you in person, to actually see Mike Locksley face to face, hopefully sooner than later.
That'll be a lot of fun, Johnny. Can't wait. I am looking forward to it.
And of course, our award-winning Mike Locksley radio shows again next year. Coach, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Johnny. And tell happy birthday to my man, Babe Ruth. Happy birthday, Babe Ruth.
We'll continue our conversation tonight with the Maryland head coaches. We talked to Mike Locksley. We've talked to Brenda Frese. Now let's talk to Maryland's head basketball coach, Mark Turgeon, about the most unusual year that he has ever had in coaching at the college level and the pro level and the high school level. You haven't gone through anything like this, Coach, with this pandemic situation.
Yeah, it's different for sure, Johnny. It's different on the whole world, obviously, and we feel fortunate that we're playing and able to play games, doing something that we love to do. But obviously, it's there's a lot, and I think the Big Ten's done a really nice job of making sure we're testing. We were testing 7 days a week. We've been home a little bit more lately, so we haven't had to test but 6 days a week. But guys have done a nice job trying to stay safe and do all the right things, and so that part's been good, and wearing our mask and just being safe. But it's different. It's an unusual year, that's for sure. So whenever we get a win, I'm so happy for the players. They don't go out; they're in their dorm rooms or in the practice, or we're traveling for a game, and it's really hard on them. But and then virtual school. You didn't go to college to go to school virtually. That's for sure. You go to college to have a great time while you're there. So it's been hard on them. It's been different, but our guys have handled it great. University's handled it great. Damon and his staff, Dr. Rooks, Klausner has done a great job. A lot of guys have done a great job. A lot of people have done a great job to make sure that we're staying safe.
And what a lot of people don't understand, or maybe they do, is the fact that the basketball family is all you have right now. You go home to your family at night. These players, they're just among their teammates, and that's it. There's no interacting with the student body. There's no interacting with fans, which everybody misses this year.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I get to see my wife and kids every day still, and my family's doing a good job of staying safe, and so we're fortunate. But yeah, the players are from practice to apartment. Food's delivered a lot to them. We have food at practice for them. Virtual school. They just don't get out much, Johnny. And sometimes that's where the road games have been actually kind of nice, just to get on a plane, go to a hotel. And most of the hotels we've stayed in have been empty. Nobody's there but us, our team, and so we get first class treatment, obviously. And yeah, it's been different. The whole world's going through it. We're all fighting it, and we're hoping this vaccine gets out quickly and helps people, and we can get back to a little bit more normalcy. But I just think college basketball is doing a great job. There's games that are canceled every night for the right reasons, but I think college basketball is doing a great job and hopefully we get to the NCAA tournament. Hopefully we get to have that tournament and crown a national champion this year. Obviously last year we had a great team and thought we had a chance to make a run, and that was taken away from us. So hopefully this year teams will get a chance to play for a national championship.
And Coach, I think you're also to be admired, you and the coaching staff, because a lot of these young guys, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old players that you got in this team have never gone through this in their life, nor have you or I or anybody watching this tonight. And there's probably got to be the fear factor among some of these young kids wondering about, will I be the next person? They read about all the statistics and the scare that everybody has and goes through day after day. And you're like the comfort level for these guys.
Yeah, you kind of, like everybody in this world, you kind of grew into COVID. You you didn't know much about it. You were scared of it. You thought, well, it's going to go away, and it didn't. And it just continued to grow and grow. And so you get better as a leader on how to handle COVID. And of course, I don't make any of the decisions. It's our doctors and people, that can make those decisions for us. We just follow the protocols. So, yeah, and you try to comfort you guys, and you tell them, hey, you can opt out of this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. And our guys love basketball. They know the risk, but there'd be risk if they're not playing basketball. It might be a little safer just being a part of a team, being in our bubble and doing what we're doing. So, so far so good. Just hoping that we can stay safe as the season continues.
I think you and I have talked about this before in the past, that hopefully maybe as they go through the month of February, maybe early March with a couple of games, some fans will be allowed to come in. But right now, there's been no fans to watch Maryland basketball, and most of the teams in the Big Ten have no fans as well. How difficult has that been on you, and how tough's that been on the team not to have anybody except your own guys, and you generate your own excitement, your own enthusiasm?
Well, obviously, we have one of the best home court advantages in the country.
Right.
One of the best home court teams in the country, year in and year out. Last year, I believe we were 17-1 at home, and with fans, and we probably won 2 or 3 games or 4 games just because our fan base wouldn't let us lose. So we miss our fans. There's a handful of us where the fan base really truly makes a huge difference, and Maryland's one of them. So we miss our fan base. It's different. We've created enthusiasm throughout our team. Our guys, our culture within our 30 guys has been really good and supportive of each other. I'm hoping it's not our decision. It's more the county, whether we can let parents into the game. It's really hard on the players, especially like Daryl Marcel. His mom and dad never missed a game. They've been on the road for a couple games to see us play in person, but haven't been able to come to a home game. So we'll see. Highly unlikely with the way things are going and the vaccine just being, put out slowly. But if there is a chance, I'd love to get some of the parents in, especially, late in the season for our players.
You have the third toughest schedule in the country this year, this Maryland basketball team of yours. It's not a big team, it's not a deep team, and still you've managed to win and knock off some premier conference opponents this year. You've had at least 4 top 25 wins over teams, Wisconsin, the first one, Illinois, Minnesota, Purdue, and that's certainly to be said, complimenting these guys for what they've done under the circumstances with which they're playing.
Yeah, it's it's a terrific league. It's funny. 2 years ago we played the 8th hardest schedule. Last year we played the 9th hardest schedule, and I'm like, I got to quit doing this, guys. And this year we're 3rd. So it is what it is. A lot of it has to do with our league just being terrific. It's the best league I've ever coached in, top to bottom. Everybody came back except Jalen Smith, and Jalen made the right decision to leave, and the league's just terrific. It's not a good year to have a smaller team, which we do. There's just so many good centers in this league. The league is so well coached. The league's older. And so it's been a challenge. But because of that, we've been able to play a lot of good teams, been able to get some quality wins, which, will help us towards getting to your ultimate goal, which is making the postseason. So it's been an uphill battle. It's been a fight. We've been scratching and clawing, but our guys have never quit. We've had a couple bad games, but we've really fought and scratched and clawed and continue to try to get better. So proud of this group, everything that they're going through, our lack of size, lack of point guard. We've had terrific point guards at Maryland over the years. Eric and Hakeem are doing a great job, but they're not really true point guards. So it is what it is. Our guys are working hard, and we still have a lot of tough games ahead of us, but hopefully we can get a few more top 25 wins before the season's over.
And Dante Scott and Galen Smith are going up against guys almost every night that are bigger than they are. and they're still hanging in there.
Yeah, Galen, he's at least 6'8". He's got some weight to him. Jarius Hamilton's battling for us, having to guard centers. It's not the way we envisioned it when we signed these guys. And Aaron Wiggins has been guarding the four some, and he had 10. He's been rebounding well at that position, but he didn't come here to guard for us. It is what it is, and we've kind of figured out a way that we think we have to play to be successful. Totally different than what we thought when practice started, and even when we were 5 or 6 games into it. And credit to our staff, credit to our guys. We continue to try to evolve and figure out a way to win as many games as we can.
Coach, one thing you've always done in all your years at Maryland, and I'm sure at your other stops as well, you've been able to get players that are not only the good basketball players, but they're good people. And I can't remember a bad team that you've had here at Maryland, guys that didn't mesh together. There may have been 1 or 2 guys that, went off the charts, but most of these guys are really good, solid players and good, solid citizens and do things in the community and do things the right way. That's got to make you proud.
Yeah, we work hard at that, Johnny. It's life's too short to be around people you don't want to be around. So we try to recruit good kids that have good character, can represent the university and our basketball program in the right way. And then, you want kids to come here and have a great career, but you also want them to have a great life after basketball. So we work hard at that. We've had a lot of guys move on, be successful in basketball, be successful in the real world, but probably learned that from Roy Williams, working for him at Kansas. Just the way he recruited and the type of person he tried to recruit, and personality's big, and how they fit into your culture is big. And we try to do it. We don't always guess right. And we don't always get it right, but for the most part, we've done that. It makes day to day a lot more fun when you have guys that are totally bought into the culture you need to be successful.
You mentioned Roy Williams at Kansas. When you were starting off as a young coach and became a grad assistant there at Kansas, he was, I'm sure, one of the instrumental guys in you developing your style and your coaching philosophy, along with a guy named Larry Brown. Not too shabby of a coach either.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. It started with my dad. My dad coached me when I was young, and saw a passion that I had for basketball, and he loved basketball, and kind of, through my years up until high school. And then I had a great high school coach, Ben Meskey, who won 7 state championships. We won his first 2 when I was at Hayden. And then I went on to play for Larry Brown, who's one of the all-time greatest coaches, and wouldn't be sitting here at Maryland if it wasn't for Larry Brown. And Larry Brown went to the NBA, and then I get Roy Williams. How about that? So I get to watch Roy Williams take over a program at the age of 37, and worked with him for 4 years, learned a tremendous amount about how to treat people, how to recruit, how to do different things, and just a huge impact on me. And I've been very lucky, obviously, and I've worked my way up from Jacksonville State to Maryland, and it's been a fun ride. It's been a great journey. Everywhere we've gone, we've got great friends. We miss places we've been, but we love being at Maryland, and it's been a great journey. It's been fun. Won enough games to keep the job, Johnny, over the years, which is good. And coached a lot of great kids. Been around a lot of great coaches and a lot of great people.
Along about this time of the year, Coach, people start talking about the NCAA tournament. Teams on the bubble, teams on the outside looking in. One thing about your philosophy and your basketball team now, you don't worry about that. You worry about the next game coming up. If you look too far down the road, that spells trouble right there.
Yeah, we're trying to stay focused day to day, and we've been so inconsistent this year. A lot of it's around the country, COVID, inconsistencies. You see it through most of the teams, but just focusing on that day, whether it's a practice, and then focus on our next opponent. We got behind the 8 ball a little bit with the start of the Big Ten season, playing a lot of the top teams early. And we just have to stay focused on one game at a time and doing the best we can. And it's easier said than done, but it's a philosophy that we're trying to do. Have streaks of 1, do the best we can in that game, and then move on to the next one. So, we'll see how it all ends up. I'm really proud of this team and the things that they've accomplished to this point. But I think we can get better and hopefully finish strong.
And the season's not over yet. A lot more basketball to be played. And these guys have gutted out some great wins, and a lot of great wins still to come for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so, Johnny. It's a good group, and they're battling for me. And I think they're making Maryland fans proud because they're giving it everything they got. We're giving up some inches, giving up some size, but we just keep battling.
Coach, appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Johnny.
Okay, that's head coach Mark Turgeon, University of Maryland. Back to you, Mike.
Well, there you have it. Many thanks to our moderator this evening, ace DJ and voice of the Terps, Johnny Holliday, and to coaches Frese, Locksley, and Turgeon for their insight in how Maryland athletics is confronting COVID-19 and the status of their programs.
And to the board, staff, and volunteers whose efforts make programming like this possible. Be sure to visit our silent auction and join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. for a terrific discussion on the impact of Babe Ruth's sale to the Yankees in December 1919.
The longtime voice of the Boston Red Sox, Joe Castiglione, will serve as the program moderator, with panelist baseball star Mark Teixeira, biographer Jane Levy, historian Bill Jenkinson, and Hall of Fame senior curator Tom Schieber taking aim on the deal of the century, followed by a live Q&A session at 7:30.
Preserving our sports heritage is made possible by contributions from viewers like you. If you've tuned into our show tonight, consider making a donation to the Babe Ruth Museum. Thank you and have a great night.